What about the other big part of discovery, which is the depositions? And again, I'll start off with an anecdote from my own past. You know, in getting ready for depositions, people always want a deposition kit. Nobody ever seems to know what goes in one, or the best way to prepare one.
That's right.
What are your thoughts?
Deposition kit is the word that really has no meaning. Depositions are really the culmination of all of the earlier discovery work. What comes from a deposition is all of the documents that have been identified as important or significant. They become exhibits to depositions. And if the foundation for creating the witness kit in the first place is not there, then the witness kit won't be complete or sufficient. And so the output, it won't be a useful product.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of times the deposition kit is it's all the documents with the deponent's name on it, but that's not always sufficient. A lot of times there's other documents you want to ask them about, or him or her about, and so yeah. But I take it that some of these other materials that you've been talking about in terms of subject matters and issues, that can be very helpful in looking for those other documents, right?
That's right. There's a standardized process that we've developed that guides the creation of a deposition witness kit. And if you've created the coding, if you've done the correct collection, if you've created sufficient coding, if you've captured the information that you need, you can run searches for date ranges, for custodians. If you've collected it and you've tracked the collection in the system, so you can trace back where was John Smith's materials. Right. They won't all have his name on it, but it would be really important in grabbing documents for his preparation to know that these were taken from his files.
Right, which you could tell you could tell from those records, but you couldn't tell from the document.
Exactly.
But yeah, right, and you know, that's dangerous because at a deposition, when he's asked by the other side, they may not know that either, but he may reference some of those documents, and all of a sudden it becomes a question about whether it's produced and whether he's prepared to talk about it.
Right, so, exactly.
What about deposition digests? What role do they play?
Deposition digests are really important, and if they're not done, then a lot of the critical information that was captured in a deposition will become lost. Because just like no one is really going to sift through 10 sets of document requests and responses to requests, no one is going to look through, or somebody will, but it'll be very costly.
And very time consuming.
And very time consuming through a deposition 10 different times for 10 different issues.
Right.
What really should be done is when the deposition is finished and the transcript is received, someone at the firm needs to sit down and digest it. It's really the Cliff Note version to the deposition. It's in a chart form, key testimony, documents relied on, areas where there was confidential testimony can be shaded in gray, attorney's eyes only information can be redacted from copies that are sent to in-house counsel, but the digest is a central piece of creating a work product from the litigation.
Okay, that's great. Now, just to sort of sum up, is there something else you could tell us about discovery that would make things cheaper, more efficient, life easier for all of us?
You know, I think the most important aspect of planning for discovery is to make sure that each component of discovery, collection, review, production, privilege, discovery tracking, are all looked at separately. Take time in advance of starting any of those projects and create protocols, train your people, get a dedicated team, form the institutional knowledge, and everything builds on itself. If any of those pieces aren't there and aren't done right, then the entire litigation could suffer from it. And it costs the client a lot more than it needs to.
Okay.
And you'll lose team members along the way, which
frustration.
Is not helpful either.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, part of this giving information to people. Lawyers need information to work, and if they don't have information, they can't get things done. It gets very frustrating.
That's exactly right.
At every stage.
And that's the overarching theme, is just managing it properly and identifying your goals before you start the projects.